Hello juniors, and welcome back to Computer Systems and Programming. For this video, we're going to be going over LiClipse. So the first thing we're going to do is install LiClipse. So we're going to be working on installing it. Then we're going to talk about directories, because LiClipse works with directories and we want to make sure that everyone understands what we're talking about. Then we're going to do familiarization with LiClipse. So similar to how when we work with Photoshop and Illustrator, we first look at the layout of the program and talk about everything. So we're going to familiarize ourselves with that. Then we're going to talk about using LiClipse and how we will be using it. So as always, there is an activity prompt with all of these steps and instructions on there and all of the steps that all of the information that I'm talking about. So I will obviously add a little bit more while I'm talking, but this has all the information that you will need if you want to kind of just refer to it or need help along the way. This video is just here to kind of help you through that process, similar to the Python and idle video. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about installing LiClipse. But first, what is LiClipse? So LiClipse is an integrated development environment, is a software application that provides comprehensive facilities to computer programmers for software development. So LiClipse is an IDE, an integrated development environment, and this IDE is used for software application, the development of software applications. So basically, it makes coding easier to work with. So from LiClipse, you can run programs, debug your programs, and view one or multiple projects while still working within one window. So it's kind of like how you can have multiple windows open on Google Chrome. You can have multiple projects open on LiClipse. IDEs also help with color coding, auto-suggesting, flags errors, and runs the code directly in your IDE window. Note, the IDEs can also help debug code. Debugging is a more advanced topic that we'll talk about later in the course. So to install this, we're going to go to this website, and you're going to download the latest version of it, and which seems to be 5.3.0, and we are on Windows 64-bit. So you're going to download this. You just click on this link to download it. I'm not going to because I already have this .exe downloaded. So then you're going to just run through the instructions of the .exe. So you run the .exe. It's going to ask you if you want to allow this thing to access your computer. You say yes. You accept the agreement. Then it's going to ask you where all the program can be stored. So this is the auto-filled one is perfectly fine. You click next. You won't get this error, but I got this error because I already have LiClipse downloaded. So I'm just going to click yes. Then it's going to ask you if you want to create a desktop icon. You probably should, because we're going to be using this a lot over the next year. So then you can click next. And then you're going to click install. I'm not going to click install because I already have it installed. But then once you finish installing it, you can click, it's going to ask you, I'm going to cancel that. It's going to ask you what you want, if you want to open the program. And you can go ahead and start opening the program right away. Before we go on, so then I'm going to launch my program. So with my LiClipse, it's asking me, what workspace do I want to use? So this is saying, where do you want to save all of your files? So this is very important. You need to put it on your desktop. You need to make a Python folder. So make a folder called Python. You can click new folder and make Python. And then you're going to choose this folder as the spot. You're going to select this folder where you're going to save it. So everyone needs to have desktop/Python on their computer. So I'm not going to save it there because all my projects are saved in the LiClipse folder. But please do this so that you make sure. And then if you never want this little thing to pop up again, all you do is click use this as a default and don't ask again. I have recent workspaces because I have used this before. So then you click launch and it should start up LiClipse. And there's going to be a lot going on your screen that we'll kind of talk about in a second. So let's give this a minute. So I have a lot more because I have all of this, all of my program here, and then I have all of these different projects that I've been working on over the past couple of years. Yours should look similar to this, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. Next, what I want to take a second to talk about is the directories. So directories simply are just folders. So that Python directory that we just made is just a folder. So when we're talking about our CWD or current working directory, that's all that is the current folder you're in. So right now the current working directory is this PC/downloads. That's all it is. So when you need to reference a file in different directories, or the CWD is referenced by a dot, but when you need to reference files, you're going to say from the current working directory, go to this folder, and then this file. It's similar to what we did in web design or in our Linux terminal. So for this example, you're going to folders and then grabbing a file called file.txt. The folder is the name of the file, and file type will change depending on the file you are grabbing. So if I want to grab a .py, I'm going to make a .py. If I want a .txt, I'm going to put .txt. This should be the name of the folder. So in my case, I'm navigating to desktop Python. So this should be desktop, this should be Python. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me via email or Canvas or however best suits you. So now let's talk about familiarizing ourselves with LiClipse. So first we need to make sure that we're all seeing the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Window, Perspective. We're going to reset the perspective. So now this is what you should see. Then what we're going to do is go Window, Show View, Console. So this is where everything gets printed out. That's why we need to show this view, because you'll need it when we're doing actual programming. You can delete this outline tab on the right because you don't need it. Now let's talk about the different things on our screen. So we have the PyDev Package Explorer. So this is where you can find all of your projects and all of your .py modules. So we know that I am in my LiClipse folder. All of these project folders exist in here. So when I make a new project on LiClipse, it creates the folder on here. So let's open up one of these project folders, and let's open up this hello.py. So all this is your main editor. So it's in the center of your screen, and this is where you can edit all your text. If you have multiple projects open, so let's open up another one of these. We'll open up this Amazon calculator. This is you can have multiple projects open. So that's what I was talking about earlier. You can have all these projects open and navigate between them, but they're still being saved in different spaces. Additionally, on the bottom, we have our console. So if I were to run this print world or this hello file, it's going to print hello world in the bottom console. So that's all the three areas on your screen. The next thing I want to talk about is this quick access bar, which is up here. So the first icon is used to make new projects and stuff. We won't be using this way, but it's kind of like a quick way to do it. The main ones we'll be using is PyDev project and PyDev module, because you have to make the project folder and then make the module. The next icon is to save. So this one will save the current file you're on. This one will save all of the files that are open. So it's helpful because if you have a billion projects that you're working on, you just click save and you know everything has been saved. So the next four we're going to ignore: this one, this one, this one, and this one. We'll come back to this one later, but for right now we can ignore it. The next one is how you run programs. So if I click this green button, what it's going to do is run the last project I just ran. The last project I ran was hello.py, so it's just going to print hello world again. See, I'll run it again, hello world. Then if I click this little drop down arrow next to it, it shows all the recent things that I've run. So yours may be only one thing, or it will be nothing. When you want to run a new project, you have to make sure that the project is open on your main editor. So we have this. Then what you do is click the drop down, run as Python run. So then that will run the current project you are on. So if I wanted to run this Amazon calculator, I go here, then I do the drop down, run as Python run. And then it'll start running this Amazon calculator. Now this program is running currently. When I am done running it and I want it to be, and I want to end it, it's still running, and I know this because it has these red things, which allows me to terminate the program. So to terminate it, you just click this, and it'll end the program. Then you can click this to close or to remove all the previous launches that you've done. So if I do this one, it'll remove the current one. But the other one will remove all of the different programs that I'm running. So then the rest of these we won't really talk about or touch on. You can feel free to explore them, but we aren't going to use them for the most part. And if we are, we'll let you know how to use it. So then the next thing we want to talk about is the taskbar. So up here, it's similar to all the other programs we work with. It's all got a taskbar with the file edit. For the rest of our activity, this is what we will be using. So now we've just finished familiarizing ourselves with LiClipse. Now we're going to start using LiClipse. So I'm going to close all of this stuff. And the first thing we're going to do is make a project folder. So we need to make a project folder for every project that we start so that we can keep all of our project files together and easily reference to other files in the project. So LiClipse has a reference system like Premiere for all of its files. So this is just a reference to this folder right here. So Amazon calculator is just a reference to right here. So in this project folder, you can find all the same stuff. So there's the Amazon calculator here. There's the Amazon calculator here. So all the same files exist, except some of these hidden files aren't going to show up on here. So to make one of these project folders, you do File, New, PyDev Project. So it's going to give you all of this stuff. You're first going to type the project name. So for you, write Hello World. The first letter of the first letter of everything is lowercase. Then every word after that is uppercase. So hello, and then the first letter of world is capitalized. If I want to put more words, I would just capitalize each letter after that. You don't put spaces because we don't allow spaces in this. So it's kind of to help the readability. So it's always like 1, then 2, 3, 4. So now you can read that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas if I go like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can't really read that as well. For you, what you're going to do is type hello world. Now, you're going to have to click here to configure an interpreter. I already configured mine, but there'll be a little blue link in this general area that you'll click to configure it. You'll just do the a quick auto config, and it'll kind of take you through the steps. So right here, it should give you like a way to do a quick config. I already did my quick config, so they can't do it again. Then once you're done, you'll click finish. I won't be able to click finish because my hello world already exists. But then once you do, you'll click finish and be done. Then on your left hand side, hello world should pop up. So now once you have that hello world, you can click on it and then you're going to make what we call a PyDev module. So to make a PyDev module, you go File, New, PyDev module. So it's telling me now in hello world /hello world in hello world, I'm going to make a file called hello world. You don't need to put a package, you just need to put this. So now you should have your first .py. That is just like an autofill. You can just click OK to that and it'll autofill your author and then what date it was created on. So you can delete this if you want, but you don't have to. Then on here, you should type print with quotations hello world, an exclamation point. Note that this isn't inside of this part. This is outside in the lines after it. So this is what we call a comment. So we'll talk more about this later, but this comment is used to kind of denote and tell the program, hey, there's no code here. This isn't real code. This is just for the user to read. So note, we don't have to name the module the same as the project folder. See how hello.py is different than hello world. But for our projects, they will be named the same. Professional programmers normally have multiple modules in one project, so they will have lots of different names. For our purposes, they will always be the same because we won't really go more than 1 or 2 modules. So now that you created this too, you can try running it just so that you can see for yourself that your Python is working. If none of this worked and you're having any problems during this, first watch this video again, refer to the activity prompt, and then reach out to me to see if I can help. But basically, what we just did is we installed an IDE, LiClipse, to organize all of our code, and then we set up our first project and began writing in Python. So we set up this project, Hello World, we made this hello world.py, and we wrote in it print hello world, and then we ran it. So the next thing you have to do for this is you're going to go to your LiClipse activity prompt. We've gone through all of this, and you're going to go to practice. You need to do this part of the activity prompt. So in LiClipse, we want you to make more projects to really get the hang of it. So you're going to make the following projects and following project folders and modules. So you're going to make a project folder called your first name. So for me, it'd be Michael. Then make a module in your name project and call it your last name. So you should have a project folder called Michael with a module called williams.py. Then you're going to make a new project folder or a new project called practice project. Inside a practice project, you will make 2 modules. One named module 1 with this exact casing, because remember we have to capitalize any words that come afterwards. Then we'll make another one called module 2. Then we're going to make one more project folder and a module inside of that folder called finally done. So in total, you should have 3 project folders, one called Michael, one called practice project, and one called finally done. In Michael, you should have a module named Williams. In practice project, you should have 2 modules, one named module 1, one named module 2, and then in the final project folder, in finally done, you're going to make a module called finally done. Once you've completed this, I will be checking this at cohort. So you need to get this done for cohort. You need to have all these projects done so that I can see, okay, yes, you know how to make projects and modules in Python. This is one of the hardest things that students struggle with. Even though it's fairly simple, it's just students forget how to do it. So we are making a requirement that you do this so that you can be familiarized with it. So We've now completed everything. We installed LiClipse, learned about directories, familiarize ourselves with LiClipse, and know how to use it. So that is all, juniors. I will see you later.